I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all reality.
Camera works.
My name's Chris Reel,
You're filming.
and ever since I can remember, I love to press record on my video camera.
You started to discover your camera-holicness.
Hey, who's that kid with the fro? Action, action, and action, action.
We had an old Super 8, and he'd just taken really cool shots and videos and always playing with the camera. Like, Mom, can I play with the camera? Can I use the camera? Can I use the camera?
Chris would always have his camera out.
Oh yeah. If he didn't have a beer in his hand, he had a camera in it.
Action. Yeah, action. You found your buddy dead and action.
In my youth, I found myself wildly obsessed with looking through the viewfinder, always waiting in anticipation.
Go, man. Fucking do it. I'm ready when you are.
He really wasn't out there to film anything. He just was there to film us because us as a whole was fun to film.
Do I have pants?
I hate video cameras.
You want to get some of me? Because, you know, I'm going to be just sick.
I would stick the camera wherever I could, in hopes of capturing something worth watching again later. At the time, it was nonsense, and I loved it.
Started getting digital cameras and he started editing.
What's up, buddy?
Soon, everyone jumped in on the action, and we took every opportunity to roll the camera and do something worth remembering.
Just seeing if the tape works. Action. 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 Action.
Whether they wanted to participate or not, everyone found themselves the subject of an unrelenting video-crazed teenager.
What are you doing, Chris?
What are you doing?
And for 15 years, I captured every moment I could, without knowing the story unfolding in front of me had the potential to resonate with the world.
Like a Bible Belt type place, so people were very religious and church oriented and wholesome. Apple pie, 4th of July parades.
That would be my mother, describing Bakersfield after moving here from her home state of Pennsylvania.
I thought Bakersfield was Hickville, but I loved the weather. Kind of a middle America place to bring up kids. It was a good place to bring up kids. When I moved there, and then I met Chris's father and I married him, but we had a great little bungalow, a Victorian bungalow.
Okay, so we were in the California desert, but my siblings and I were happy. We were a ragtime family of entertainers with open hearts. My parents taught us strong family values. My dad taught me to be an athlete. I turned out to be more of a daredevil. My mother taught me to entertain, be loud, loving, and accepting.
Brian and I's divorce was final in 1992. It was a pretty short marriage.
Divorce hit me hard as a kid. I lived with my 2 sisters and my mom, and we didn't have much, but we had each other.
We did not have a lot of money. And at certain times, my parents had to send money so we could eat. And we got free food from the Golden Empire Gleaners. And the church had to deliver a Christmas tree with lights already on it. We were very not rich monetarily.
And all of that would change when my mom met Ted.
She was divorced and I was available to date because I'd lost my wife. And we started dating and that was kind of how we hit things off.
The Arkansas-raised oil engineer provided us a more promising future and was like a second father to me. I even acquired a brother out of the deal, which I thought was pretty cool.
And then Ted and I married in 1996, and then 1997, we got the job offer in Santa Barbara.
To my surprise, we'd be moving away from Bakersfield. Ted had received a job, and we would be leaving with him to find a new place as a new family. Seconds started to right, and straight on till morning. Two hours towards the coast, and 2 hours north of Los Angeles was our new home, a place called Santa Barbara, California.
took the leap to Santa Barbara, not knowing much about it. All I knew is I loved Santa Barbara the first time I was there, and I thought one day I want to live here. It's a beautiful town.
I was like, oh my God. I didn't get how beautiful it was. I didn't take in any of the scenery. I was like, we're gonna go boogie boarding every day while we're here? Let's go do it.
1, 2, 3.
When we first got over here, it was really tough because coming from Bakersfield and everything costs about 5 times more over here in terms of real estate. So we were struggling to find a house we could afford, and you know, we put in one offer. And then that same guy, you know, knowing where we wanted to be, one day calls and says, "Hey, I know somebody who's trying to get a house ready for the market."
At 5 o'clock, pouring rain, El Nino, 1997, November. And he called us, he said, "Can you meet me over there now? Here's how you get there." I'm like, "It's on the beach side of the freeway? I don't care what it is." And we pulled into behind these gnarly, high, 10-foot, 12-foot high bushes, a pittosporum, and a circular driveway to what looked like a haunted house. And it was pouring rain, thunder, lightning.
This fixer-upper was a dream come true for this Bakersfield family.
I knew, I was like, oh. When we walked in, it was all musty, things were covered with sheets, old piano, and started clinking on that. And then we opened the door to this huge backyard, gnarly, grown over. I said, "This is our house."
It was like, wow, you know, of course we'd love to have this house.
We gotta live here. This is our children's future. I knew it.
That's how we found, you know, the big white house. We by no means had deep pockets. So
here dwelled the rich, the famous, the glamorous.
it was just a wonderment to be able to afford the house that we got, you know.
Movie stars, royalty in exile.
Once we got past the obscenity of what it cost to have a property, you know, to have a house.
Oh, well, you know, I thought it was gonna be, you know, a nice surf town and
Retired millionaires,
happy people in the sunshine.
sportsmen,
And everybody together at each other's houses, having barbecues and surfing and swimming in the ocean.
playboys,
I thought Bakersfield on the beach, with a little more money.
hillbillies.
I didn't know this at the time, but that did not compare to the money we were moving into. I had no idea what Santa Barbara really was. I had no idea. Wow, this is amazing. This is. I had no idea.
We had just moved out of Bakersfield and we're just ecstatic to see the stars at night, you know.
I was just kind of in a daze. Like, what have we gotten ourselves into? It was culture shock. And then I thought, uh-oh, now we're gonna have to try to find people like us.
Who are these people? Where are they from?
And it turned out that we found people like us next door.
We were acclimating. And of course, with my childhood being fueled by the 90s, my obsession with skateboarding landed me a dream of having my very own skate ramp in my backyard. At the time, it was a very rare sight in a neighborhood like this. That's when kids started to come out of the woodwork. As you can imagine, there weren't many places to scuff your knees, get dirty, and run wild in Montecito.
Oh, I was excited to have all the kids in my yard.
Queen Barb wanted nothing more for us than to utilize the property as our playground. Anywhere I'd meet them, I'd say, "Hey, come back to my place and skate later."
And the half pipe was pretty much the coolest thing in the entire neighborhood, especially when there weren't any waves.
There's a lot of skateboarders, surfers, bikers, fucking rollerbladers, huh?
There was nowhere to go. You got in trouble in parking lots.
Violation trespassers.
Unacceptable.
So, you know, people were bugged by you on the street. All the kids then could come to my house and I could watch them out the kitchen window on the half pipe and feed them.
After that, there was like no stopping like our friendship.
Chris's mom would buy snacks, she'd get soda, she would fend off angry neighbors that didn't like our music and didn't like the noise of the skateboards.
Every day, like it did not stop, it was insane.
Pretty much just condoned all of our activities, which was awesome.
The start of the White House.
My biggest realization at the time was that my mom welcomed kids of the community. So I started recruiting. Kids by the names of Aubrey, a highly motivated troublemaking prankster who's always looking to make people laugh.
You want some of this?
Adam, the all-in-ocean kid who expressed endless optimism and athletic drive.
I do it big.
Jordy,
Hi.
the strong-willed sweetheart that loves to laugh and has a strong commitment to her friends and family. Ian, a perpetually sarcastic guy with an outlandish sense of humor and an unrelenting call to adventure. Owen, cool, calm, and collected, with strong artistic expression and casual realism. He's a lone rider addicted to the sea.
Whoa. Throw me a bone here.
Tam, a genuine guy, classically hilarious. He's a nature enthusiast. He's also passionate and full of adventure.
Hey, cutie.
Along with the rest of the core group of wild, talented, hilarious, and adventurous youth. As kids filtered in and out, there was a few who remained steadfast.
As we all got older, more people started filtering in.
Unlike most parents in the neighborhood, Queen Barb kept the big white house doors open for the kids, which would soon become floodgates. This was a group I knew would push limits. Big, scary, tricky, or dumb. I thought, I don't care, just make it entertaining. And that's when I started filming everything and everyone.
Oh my God!
Did you get on film?
Oh, it's still filming.
Yeah, some of us, our families were single moms, didn't have a lot of money.
My parents divorced when I was like really young. My dad wasn't in the picture as much growing up.
Most of the kids that came to the house before they became involved with us were sad.
I mean, a lot of kids came from all different walks of life.
Kids from very wealthy families. We had kids with no families.
Maybe they didn't have a place to go in the evening because their parents weren't home, or they were trying to get away from something that was happening within their own home.
You know, no house is perfect.
May not have had the best home life, you know, needed an escape, and when we were here for them.
Our house was a haven for kids that may not have been getting the support and the attention that they needed growing up, you know.
And I feel good about, you know, saying that was part of what my address could be used for.
Barb just took everyone in like their own.
From the beginning, we were all collectively attracted to the wide open ocean playground in our backyards, always trying to start and end our day by or on the water.
Chris's friends were almost all surfers and skateboarders, but surf.
The local files from him.
Good job, keep it up. Parker Peterson.
The best part of the big house was it was a block away from the beach. You'd go to the beach, you'd park your car at the White House.
We're pretty much half a mile from Hammond's Beach.
I remember we used to always surf Hammond's. Hammond's was our spot.
Which is a good surf spot, and the Coral Casino.
We were always safe out at Hammond's. Like, it isn't a wave of consequence, but it's a hell of a reef wave.
I got into surfing when I was 11. I was kind of the only girl in the group in the beginning. I remember just paddling out on the board and meeting the boys.
We lived in this surf culture.
We were never stuck inside, like check the surf and...
Anytime the waves were good, we would head down there and hit waves, and then the waves were small. We'd all just go hang out at the wall.
It was like a sunset kind of like crew. Like you always go there on sunset, and it was the same crowd in the roundabout. I mean, every time.
And just met a really great group of friends.
This beautiful brotherhood of the boys.
We became increasingly more aware of the ocean conditions and attempted to surf and emulate our professional idols in every possible way.
Make sure that is on. Yeah! This is kind of like Mavericks. This is like Mavericks. Yeah? You want to try? Okay, Mavericks is up and next. Try it out. Try it out. Woo! Alright, this is incredible!
We are at Hammond's at dawn.
Here were some extremely stoked grommets looking to copy the pro surfers that we grew up surfing with. Much like internationally renowned and local legend Tom Curran, seen here at Rincon Point. See, Tom, we can do that. Yeah, you're getting there, kiddos. Or another legend we often sat in the water with, and maybe you've heard of him, Kelly Slater. And just when you think a couple kids are starting to get the hang of it, someone like Bobby Martinez shows up and lets you know what he's made of. Well, Bobby, how about that? Dane Reynolds closed the door on us. Some legends, however, remained untouchable. And we knew we were just some lucky groms getting to grow and surf in their wake. Like Chris Brown. When the swell and waves would die off, we ventured out for an alternative adrenaline rush.
So when do I start doing tricks?
Often the constant motivation from peers led to some pretty fantastic feats, accompanied as usual by my video camera. We took it pretty serious when we thought we were attempting something great.
I'll take it. Whoa, that was nuts!
Why not?
This group certainly had a mixed bag of determined and talented kids. From motorcycles to rollerblades, from scooters to skateboards.
Chris, because I knew if he had a shitload of energy in him, he could do anything. The kid was fucking airdropping into his half pipe and throwing 1080s on rollerblades.
If it wasn't in the name of fun, it wasn't getting done. I think I always wanted to be a professional athlete, and the guys around me did too. It was our dream. We didn't know how to go about it, so we made videos. I guess just hoping to get recognized. And enjoy the release of energy and peace of mind that we had nothing else to worry about but the task at hand. Of course, more often than not, each successfully landed trick came at a cost.
Oh, dude. You okay, dude?
I'm right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah!
This is what's gonna be on there with your name under it.
What blows my mind is we never asked what we were sacrificing our bodies for. If you didn't commit, you were called out and put on the spot.
Oh, fucking not again.
While the rest of Montecito's kids were taking tennis lessons and attending cotillion, we searched out more extreme ways of spending our time. At times when boundaries got pushed to their farthest limits, dangerous stupidity were often the words that came to mind. We were always trying to take things to the next level, which worked out about as well as one would expect.
So that's gonna go fast, dude.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh! You better make sure that's not a fire, dude. What'd you guys do?
We've caught so much stuff on fire at that house, it's not even funny.
The 4th of July, where we had some fireworks that didn't quite go out, I guess. It was like, we had that note from the fire marshal. It's like, we've been to your house and we were called to put out a fire and...
Half pipe. Half pipe. First half pipe burnt down. Fireworks. Is that Aubrey?
It was not me, and I know it wasn't me because I was not at the house the night that it happened. I woke up the next day to the call of the half pipe has burnt down and half of the neighbor's hedge.
We almost burned Montecito down. There's a fire truck at the house when we come back from surfing, and the half pipe was basically almost caught the whole house on fire and was completely burned down. It was pretty cool though.
To me, I've always been a kid about fireworks. So. Guilty as charged.
Okay. Ready? Okay. And that still goes on today.
We became pretty good at talking to the cops at like a young age.
Kids like Aubrey and the gang jumping off the roof into the bushes.
I thought we were being destructive to property. I didn't care, and neither did the other guys. But in hindsight, not a great idea. This wasn't your typical adolescence. We were extremists. But you know, bushes grow back and walls get painted.
I remember jumping out of a tree that was pretty high into a bush.
No hesitation!
Side flopping like on the ground, that was pretty fun. It's like 20 feet to like a bush.
It was kind of like Jackass, like all the time. Jumping off the house into bushes and backflips onto, trampoline. It was just like out of control all the time. And the big white house is on Olive Mill, so it's like everyone could drive by in their Porsches or Mercedes and see like these kids doing backflips off the house.
Nice move. Remember the cops would come and we'd like open the door and be like, oh hey, and just shut the door in their face. I mean, just dumb shit.
When the boys were deciding, yeah, this looks like a good balcony. Let's jump off it into a big ass bush.
That was sick.
We didn't think about consequences too much.
We rarely considered the repercussions of our actions. We were too busy laughing.
Upside down, ripping each other out of the bush because they're 10 feet up.
Dude, catch him! Oh my god, give me a high five!
Probably got 1,000 warnings. So that was awesome.
Most would agree that a go-kart is a quiet neighborhood's worst enemy. This was one of our best ways of saying, we don't give a shit.
The whole front yard into a go-kart track. Front yard. On the main street that goes to the Four Seasons Biltmore.
Any A-list celebrity in the world could be driving by and at risk of having a go-kart land on their windshield.
And the trolley passes, and the limousines pass.
Alex, do it again!
And these kids just turning over these go-karts in our front yard.
We didn't have our license yet, so that was the closest thing to a car, and we'd rally it.
The front of the White House at the time was like dirt. The grass was just like not even growing.
It just got utterly destroyed and turned into like a mud pit.
It's so fun. And it just became this like monster jam in the front yard.
It wasn't like we had a pristine lawn.
Part of me wanted to say like, oh man, that's my yard you're messing with, but part of it was like, well, it's, so what? It's, you know, these guys are having fun, this is priceless.
So the kids got to ride these go-karts and get filthy and turn the go-kart over. Almost kill themselves.
We gotta start like signing a release.
Seeing you guys piled on and like doing totally unsafe stuff, like up on two wheels.
Just a Mad Max kind of in your front yard.
Look at the front left, dude. It's snapped.
You got your money's worth out of that thing.
This go-kart's so going down. Whoa!
20 miles an hour and probably 50 yards.
The cart's so fucked.
I was holding on to the back of the go-kart while somebody was jumping the go-kart and then jumping when we hit the jump, so you go flying extra far.
And I did not care that their parents probably thought we were white trash or we're oaky people.
Damn, kids gonna hurt themselves. Damn, kids.
I mean, kicking up dirt in the middle of Montecito.
I mean, there was like dust clouds going over like Olive Mill. I'm sure people driving by were like, who lives here? Because I mean, I'm sure every day was like that too. Who lives at this house?
Yeah, that was some of the moments. I mean, sometimes that was a pain in the ass, but
we had so much energy, and it would be hard to be a parent that has to do a little bit of regulation, like actually be the person that has to say, all right guys, you can't do that, it's dangerous.
Wasn't the best having 20 kids around every day at all times.
These lost boys found a place comparable to Neverland, and yet everything comes at a cost.
Like the place was clean, but it wasn't nitpicky clean. There was definitely dust around, there was some mud around.
Carousel of kids coming by and jumping off and hopping on.
Kids would do chores here and there, but I didn't force them to do a heck of a lot because it was a battle, and I didn't want to battle.
of course we have kids, they're gonna have friends, and of course they're gonna invite their friends over.
By the end of the week, it would be cleaned up, but
Who cleaned it up?
Who did clean it up?
God, I worked my butt off.
I don't even know, dude.
But I would clean and clean and clean for 3 hours and then pick the kids up from school and it was a mess again.
Okay, so, you want to make a snake? I'm gonna go make a snake.
Took it. Now, what's the next thing? Peanut butter. Okay. Oh my god.
I did laundry every day, 2 to 3 loads a day. Usually it was mostly towels.
Clean the shit up. What? There's nothing.
The confetti on the
With
floor.
the confetti on the floor.
Oh my god.
It was super disrespectful of us, not trying to be by any means.
Your mom and your stepdad definitely suffered probably because of that. Your stepdad probably suffered more because of that because he never had just like time alone.
Ted wasn't really around too much back in the day.
He hardly lived with us. He did for a little, then got a job somewhere else, then did again, then got a job somewhere else.
It was like a satellite in Santa Barbara, and so he had to be going back and forth.
What I do remember about our conversations about, you know, coming home for a weekend or whatever and, you know, wanting a place to myself was, the alternative to her, I think, was like, how fun would that be, right?
He did not want to come home to a house full of kids.
Like now when you're older, you think about it, you would not want to come into that because it's like loud and it was nonstop.
Barb enjoyed the noise, I want to say. She was loud, vocal out there, like, oh, hi, how are you guys? Like,
Come to my house. Every night is casino night.
it's almost like you had so much energy coming in when you see her. Like, it just, when you walked into the house, it had a different vibe than most places are. Like, everyone was stoked all the time.
She was just kind of the operator that made sure everyone was fed and having a good time.
I think she just is that way. She's a giving person, and she wants to open up and see her kids happy and thriving with other friends.
Well, that was part of our values, my values.
Much at the weekend when I was wanting to have some quiet time or whatever, it didn't work out.
And when he was around, we'd typically kind of scatter because we could pick up his vibe of like, get the fuck out of my house.
He didn't like that we were feeding him.
Oh, we were always in the kitchen.
What is in the kitchen?
I would see what was in the fridge or in the cabinets and make enough food for 10 or 12 kids. And then Ted would come home and be like, where the fuck is all the food,
And letting them play our instruments and, put their surfboards on the lawn.
I probably should have turned down the volume on, want my house private.
I had a battle with my husband. I didn't want to battle with my kids. What was more important is that everybody's together and loving and eating and fed spiritually and physically. Everybody was happy.
I think with wealth, there's a lot of trying to escape that lifestyle for some kids that don't want to be known as some rich kid, and there's a lot of pressure.
People who come from families that are successful, from businesses that are successful, that they want the best for their kids, and they just think in their mind it's, oh, well, you've got to make A's and you've got to get accepted into Harvard, and those play havoc on a kid,
A lot of these parents aren't home 24/7, and they don't have a mother or father figure as much as maybe some other households do because they're working or they're always traveling. Or
the kids, they lived a mile up the hill and they would just go home, and you knew they were going home to no mom, especially no dad. Most of their dads were out of town, and that's not everybody. There were some that had parents at home.
Divorce and destruction is more common in Montecito than wealth. People show up in Montecito with money and then just start fucking snowboarding down that long hill, and
yeah, I mean, they do have everything, but when you have everything, what does it get you?
Santa Barbara, Montecito, it's filthy money, especially for kids. So if you come from money, it's easy to get into the wrong thing. It's easy to go down a wrong path or not have a path at all.
Their parents' lives seemed so ensconced with keeping up with the Joneses and being something that they may have been or may not have been, but making money, getting a new boat, getting a new car, getting a second home in Aspen or Manhattan or, wherever. Money can tend to destroy those wholesome values. And I didn't find that when we began to live in a more prestigious and rich financial environment, that the people around us didn't embrace those same values in general.
These kids needed an escape. Many found it through crazy adrenaline rushes or at the bottom of a bottle, vial, or lighter.
There's a lot of mental illness in our community, a lot of drug abuse from the parents. I mean, people do nice drugs in Montecito. They fucking get all the pills they want, and who knows what they're doing behind closed doors.
Everything was super easily accessible, from being able to drink, do drugs, do whatever you wanted to do. So there was a lot of peer pressure and pressure to kind of get into that scene.
There was forks in the road out there, and we lost some ones we really love.
Success brings excess in some people's lives, and a place like this has more than its average share of that to go around.
Sad to see somebody destroy their life that way, even though they had everything. It's crazy.
Our house and what your friendships were able to bridge in terms of providing something for those friends that didn't have anything else really to call a fun environment to look forward to.
Well, the kids came to our house for love and real American life. Oh, put that in the trash. Oh, help yourself to a burrito in the refrigerator. Do your dishes.
She allowed people to be themselves and be kids.
While other people probably felt compelled socially or whatever to, keep everything cool, she just kind of knew that kids were going to have fun, and she'd much rather, take those people on than have the disappointment of telling us to stop doing something.
Although the cost for a family to host a neighborhood of children was high, this neighborhood, being unique as it was, applied pressures on youth that were unseen by the outside world. Being surrounded by Santa Barbara's level of success, whether in youth or as an adult, has a way of making a person feel that you've always done too little or you'll never accomplish enough. The pressures to succeed, keep parents and the community pleased, be an upstanding young gentleman or lady. But we were the escape, where kids could be kids.
It was great. And the kids got to be themselves and relax and not be pressured. How they look, how they're dressed, where they're going at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock.
You can just kind of be yourself more at Chris's house than you could sometimes around your own family.
Despite our often destructive nature, our parents promoted creativity, exploration, and fun activities.
It takes something off your shoulder that you know you have that like nest to come back to, knowing that your second family is there. I mean, I think for every kid, they could tell you a story why they went there to get away, or just to not have to think about the bad or what they're going through at the time.
It became an iconic community of safety for kids that needed it.
The house was a place where class disappeared no matter where you came from. It was just thrown out the window. I mean, if it was a new person, everybody was introducing each other, and it would just became this bigger group.
Barb, first day I met her, opened arms. Didn't even know who I was, gave me a hug, gave me water, and gave me some kiffles.
It really brought in people from all different backgrounds, different personality types, different upbringings, and it was just a safe place.
A kid could come down and he's super bummed, and I remember my dad's house burnt down that first fire, and I had all my shit in the car, and I drove straight to the White House, and all the kids were there, and what happened? And
boy troubles or whatever. I just remember coming over to the White House and having the boys serenade me with music. Well, I cried. There was cake involved, for sure. To me, that was the White House. It was, little things in life when you're that young and you're sad, and whatever it was, they were always there.
Well, kids stayed over a lot.
It was the hostel of Montecito that didn't exist.
Or they would stay there when they needed to, but then I had exchange students at the same time. From Brazil, Japan, Italy, Prague, Portugal. They had these amazing experience of what they thought was normal Montecito life. And it was great, but it wasn't normal. It wasn't typical. But my house wasn't typical in Bakersfield either. We were the please don't eat the daisies.
We were allowed to use the property to explore and experiment with our creative endeavors. We would build things out of whatever we could find. In this case, we built a wave-like barrel out of trash cans, mattresses, towels, and tarps.
I love this!
Because we were always doing something.
We didn't have the money to spend, so we would have to spend our days making fun things to do.
In the backyard, we built an airsoft course with any junk we could find, including burned half-pipe wood, dilapidated furniture, surf and boogie boards. You name it. It was an eyesore by Montecito standards, but to us, it was paradise. With this freedom, our projects expanded into shaping surfboards, making art, music, and more. This, in turn, helped us as kids and the house blossom socially.
We had all these guys coming. I had plenty of guitars. We got a drum set. We got digital drums. And they would set them up, garage bands. Well, we had garage band, living room band, TV room band. And sometimes one going over there while the other one's going over here. Oh, and I'm in the kitchen hearing it all.
We would sit on the couch and the boys would jam out to music, and it was a safe haven.
It was pretty much just drop in whenever you wanted to hang out, and if they weren't there, just hang out by yourself.
I don't ever remember the house being locked. I don't know if it does lock.
I lived 2 blocks away from the White House, uphill, so I could always skate downhill. So then I never came home.
Red signs.
Improv,
man. He'll be laughing the whole time.
He just doesn't know how to act.
Making videos, singing songs, writing songs.
Shit, dude. Amidst our creativity was the ever-present camera. I began honing my skills by making music videos, skits, and short films with the talented kids around me.
Yeah, I did acting camps in the summer.
And as my mom held her acting camps mostly at the house, it was yet another addition to the hordes of children.
The theatrical, musical, sports. It was like a school for the performing and sports arts.
And so, as the Big White House flourished with acting camps, music, art, and social growth, we also honed our skills in our chosen sports, with the hopes of succeeding within our passion and abilities. I myself gravitated towards skating. We pushed each other, challenged each other, and most importantly, cheered each other on.
Dude, you gotta go big or go home. That's big.
It like was a breeding ground. It was like a little farm team house where like music got better, skating got better, surfing got better. I mean, we had our own half pipe, we had our own dreams. Like we could come up with something like, let's build some crazy shit today, and we'd pipe dream off and go do what we wanted to do.
Adam became amazing on the water. The ocean is where Adam pushed his limits. We had a multitude of different surfing styles. People like Travis Adler, who some describe as poetry in motion. Not to mention the competitive surfers, who trained and aimed for the world tour. For most of us, it was about the freedom of riding our own way, with our own unique identities. Simply put, there was a plethora of amazing watermen and women who frequented or at some point passed through the doors of the Big White House.
It was like a total, total place to be.
I'm positive in that respect when I think back about, what we were able to have and provide and share with the people that became your community, Yeah, I'm glad that we could be there.
They were happy when they came to our house, and they wanted to come back and sleep there and eat there and live there.
Happy, fun, crazy place.
The big house was an embassy, but it was an overall place of peace.
Barbara and Ted doing their thing, the amapola. Oh yeah, here we go.
September 22nd, 2007 is when Ted walked out the door. So you were 20.
I felt the ground had dropped out from under me, just as I was beginning to jump.
I would just as soon not have to go back and back through the details of those moments of saying, it's over and and I'm leaving, you know. I remember, you know, the pain of having to tell you and Daniel and the girls and go, you know. So.
He lived a separate life. You know, Ted lived in Bakersfield. And he came home on weekends and expected to have a perfect castle, and he did. I cooked, I cleaned, I did everything he wanted, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
None of us even understood at the time that, you know, the house was kind of like falling underneath itself.
In terms of, I guess no divorce is fun, but in terms of how long it could have taken and how long it did take, I think we're two different things. I think it took a lot longer than it should have, and that gets me back to, you know, the house being a big piece of that. And your mom wanted to keep it, and so tried to hold out and give her time, you know, in the time to try to get her own financing for it.
As the divorce hearings and tug of war for physical possessions ensued, the house became stuck in limbo.
A lot of it's a blur. Because I knew that something was going on with Ted, but I didn't think he'd leave us. I didn't think he'd leave us.
Overwhelmed with stress, Queen Barb left the country on vacation.
And I had friends say, well, I can't believe you're leaving the kids behind. I'm like, the kids? Your kids left for college. I'm leaving for Life University, and they're going to take care of the house and the animals, and neighbors will look out, and it's going to be fine.
Ever the opportunist, I knew I had to take advantage of a 7-bedroom house in Montecito.
Chris turned 21 while I was in Paris in August of 2008. I thought you guys would probably have some parties.
All right, so basically, we're here with a bunch of random people.
I alerted all the neighbors and very specific people to be checking regularly, and they did, and reported.
My name is Ian. We're gonna be playing some beer pong over there, shooting some cups. Damn, in one hole, shit, Kobe.
And, you know, I called you guys all the time.
Next thing we're gonna be doing is dancing on the dance floor, showing, popping out collar, going gigging.
And I just thought, well, they're gonna be like a frat house.
We're gonna have a good night tonight. We're gonna be smoking stoves, we're gonna be drinking some drinks, we're gonna be smoking some dope. You know what we do. It's what we do.
I lived in a sorority house. You know, I was like, okay, I know what goes on.
Yeah, know what I mean? Fuck yeah, bitches. Suck my dick.
It became like really small get-togethers, which started like, you know, any other day or whatever. We'd have, you know, a handful of people over and, you know, playing guitar and drinking a little bit of alcohol.
Okay, come on. Hey, you want to see the kitchen? Come on. And here we have a disgusting mess made by the ladies. I told them to leave, they didn't, and here you go. They made a mess. This is alcohol. That's not alcohol. That's the alcohol. This is what happens.
Periodically, Queen Barb came back to the house,
Let me kick his ass out.
only to find that the infestation had taken over her castle.
Hey, you're pretty tall, man. Your roof is so sick.
The White House became this destination of like, is it gonna happen this weekend? Like, what's happening? And it wasn't even like we'd plan this out. It would be like 2 hours before the party, and we'd be like, let's just do it.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Like 4 days out of the week, maybe more sometimes, we were like drinking every night and having like, we would call our little get-togethers just little get-togethers, but a little get-together would be like 30 people. And then our big parties would be large.
A club every weekend.
There was just the most insane, from like the half pipe in the backyard, there'd be people skateboarding, to beer trees and beer pong. The biggest, hugest thing in Santa Barbara, Montecito, period.
This is where the party's at. This is where the chicks are at. This is where it's like going down. These are people, this is who you should be.
From the younger kids to the older kids would show up there, and it was this huge generations. And
the big house had all the best parties in Cito. Like, I don't know how he put it together. Like, having this house made Chris the man.
We need to get on the fucking dance floor right now. We need to go, and everyone needs to go right now.
Bring everybody over.
nothing quiet about our little tribe.
I remember Aubrey being like a bouncer and all serious about it.
Run! Like that? Yeah. Whoa, hey!
Talking to cops.
He was so fucking funny with the cops because he was always sober. So he'd just go out there and they'd be like, oh, fuck this kid again. We got to deal with this fucking kid.
We need to go inside. No, everything's good. We're good.
There was no laws at the big house. Like, it was not in California. We didn't follow federal law. We didn't follow state law.
Nothing bad happened from the parties, but it was just like unleashed adolescence.
It was fucking sick.
Yeah, I had parties. Yeah, we went hard and it was a blast, but I was filling a void. I was scared and I ingested and indulged, simply because I didn't know what would come next. I needed them to smile, because inside, all I felt was pain.
I got videotaping at 10:30 here by an attorney. That's all I was worried about.
Shit, you can't rent out a house forever. You can't fill it with a bunch of groms paying rent and bring in people. Like, that isn't gonna cut the butter.
We're drinking in the middle of the fucking day and shit.
While we waited in limbo, with mixed feelings of hope and dread.
What are we gonna do when we get the house back? I'm gonna take all my clothes off and I'm gonna run through every room in the house. And then I'm gonna run outside.
We won't film that.
And then you better.
Queen Barb searched for every solution to hold on to the house. From financing from friends to making the house into an Airbnb, she came back from Paris for court dates as the battle for the house began to reach a pinnacle.
I was, trying to not involve myself in the politics of the divorce because it just kind of hurt either way. Like, I just wanted it to be resolved. I almost wanted no one to have the house,
We wanted to enjoy the house because we thought it was coming to the end, but at the same time, we all supported this dream of like, whoa, maybe we'll have it to ourselves once and for all, and the good times will just never stop.
I keep having recurring dreams about judges in black robes and fake wigs pounding me with the gavels. I wake up crying and in tears.
We supported Barb when she went to court. We would, go in there and be with her, just hoping our presence would help sway the judge.
Nobody really talked about it and everything happened so fast. We heard all the rumors about a shady judge and about all this other shit.
This is me. I'm taking my blood pressure. After having this judge's report and all the lies in it, my blood pressure has been sky high.
Queen Barb, without money for a lawyer, represented herself in the fight to keep the house for over 2 years.
It was a fight to the very end of trying to keep, this dream going.
I think a lot of us knew Ted was just doing business and he just didn't give a fuck and he was just gonna keep moving forward. It all just crumbled, but it was sad watching Barbara fight for it when deep down we knew it was over. But I think with everything, it's every chapter has to end.
That morning, Christopher was there, Ian Watson, Shane Watkins, Owen Scheid, my boys. They took over. So much of it was a blur because I was ready to jump on the railroad track.
Someone's been in this property without my permission. Again.
As she continued to fight even after the eviction, she was illegally removed from the title of the house.
Chris's stepdad ended up marrying another woman and moving her into the house.
People are in my house, which does not belong to them yet. And you know that. All the flowers of tomorrow are in the seeds of today. This is completely unacceptable to me. This is just not okay.
Yeah, you killed it. We're gonna do a perfect Tokyo.
Nice. I learned from the best. Aubrey.
It was a beautiful life. We all look back and want those years, like those are our good years.
From childhood on at the White House in Montecito, those are all family still today, and it's crazy. It's like my true friends forever, no matter what. It's almost like a storybook or something that it's like too perfect because it's like the modern day Lost Boys or something.
I'm definitely gonna miss those times, you know. It's something that I'll always hold on to. Those memories are just very uplifting.
You can't take some of it back, but yeah, some of it stays there, and we have however many days we have left together, and yeah, killer footage.
These memories from the house left a mark that still echo through the community today.
I loved it, you know, and Chris changed the neighborhood. He really did. Truthfully, what I appreciate in him more is like, he's our leader. You know, he knew how to bring the people together. He made everybody feel welcome there.
Yeah, because we all had Chris as an example of like, holy shit, how does this guy have so many friends and he knows them all so well, and yeah, I can barely keep up like 5 friendships, and this guy knows half the town. It was a place where you learned a lot about people, and you learned a lot about yourself and how you relate to people. And
we all created our own values with each other, and those values were really kind of just be respectful and nice to others. Comedy and laughing and open arms. I don't think we would have learned them the way we did and who we are today if it wasn't for that house.
It was years later, probably after we even lost our home, that I realized the root of much of my way of living came from what I didn't get. Yet it was anchored with what I did get, and that was good food, good loving care, and a solid faith foundation.
No, like Barb's our mom. Like, she was a mom to every single one of us boys.
That's why they call her the queen. She was the centerpiece of the house.
The White House to me, I don't know, it was just my safe place. Yeah, I don't know. The White House to me was Montecito, through the good and the bad, and through all of our different paths in life. I think to me it just still represents family, because that's what we all got out of it.
We look back knowing we had one of the luckiest childhoods in the world. Thankful for times well spent and amazing people we'll never forget. The neighborhood continues to grow and change with new wealthy families. The house was put up on the market in 2020 after a full renovation. But many of the kids, who are now adults, can still be seen wandering around the old stomping grounds. I can say that growing up on both sides of the track has opened my mind to what people really need. Despite social status or wealth, all we really need is love and acceptance.
To the house, to the house, to the house.
With a touch of adventure. Tam Chase is now in a pursuit of a life off-grid. He co-created a movie about the Gaviota Coast and continues to be an avid ocean adventurer. Owen Scheid is never far from water. He now works in retail assisting brand growth, as well as started a fishing brand with Adam. Adam Lambert is now a surf coach and avid fisherman. He's a highly respected surfer and waterman, focused on staying near the ocean for the rest of his life. Jordy Goldberg has moved to Austin, Texas, and started a beautiful family of her own. She frequently visits Santa Barbara for friends and family. Ian Watson is a self-taught stock trader and outdoorsman. He now lives in Mammoth, California, and rarely goes indoors. Aubrey has become a leading professional in the music touring industry, traveling the world with the likes of Akon, Swedish House Mafia, Martin Garrix, and Justin Bieber. You can still find him on occasion, sitting at the wall. Queen Barb has relocated to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Although reflecting on the past is painful in many ways, she has found a community that appreciates her for her loving and nurturing way of life. And I am now married, sober, and have become a full-time filmmaker in Los Angeles. You know that place between sleep and awake, the place where you can still remember dreaming? That's where I'll always love you. That's where I'll be waiting.